How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Jose, aka TheNYCGeek, aka TNG, aka your Elden Lord. Especially in a court of law, your Elden Lord, aka the guy who's wishing you all an awesome weekend. Hope you guys had a great time, being safe out there. And I had hoped to get out this review of She-Hulk episode 2 out on Thursday, but I have to be completely honest. It has been hard for me to go back and rewatch that episode again, episode 2 of She-Hulk, because for my reviews, I try to at least get out 2 views of a show, and sometimes even 3. I don't want to just go in, I don't want to go in there just willy-nilly. When I do like a movie review, yes, I will I go in there, I take notes, but when it comes to like a TV show that I could just watch, sit down, break down, I try my best to get in a few views of it, and I have just not wanted to watch this show. It is a chore. It is a chore. I can safely tell you, though, that it has not improved, not in terms of getting the character right or being worth your time, what little time it may take, because this episode was barely 22 minutes long, which I guess we can at least be grateful for that fact, because that means the torture didn't last for that long. But I clocked it. It started at like, I think, 1:45 and ended around 22:50 or something like that. And with maybe 30 seconds of post credits and another 7 minutes of credits. Like, god damn. So it was barely 22 minutes, give or take a minute. But before I get into the actual review, which you can imagine what I'm going to say, and I will sum it up, I want to touch on last week's episode. I have to. I feel like we have to, especially because it was the opening episode. It was the first one. It's gotten a lot of reactions. It has understandably gotten a lot of negative reaction, but there have been some, there's been a little good, mostly by the Disney consumers or the paid out media shills, but mostly bad, and deservedly so. This show started out awful, and this second episode wasn't much better. It just wasn't much better, and I want to briefly explain why this show is the worst MCU show out there, why it is deserving of a 0 out of 10, and what a 0 out of 10 actually means to me. Okay, because there are some people who are like, oh, this isn't a 0 out of 10. You have to understand what I mean by this, okay? Because it's not just bad. A 0 doesn't mean that it's just bad. And why you might throw into question when they see the show being praised at all, because it's not worthy of any of that. A 0 out of 10 for me doesn't mean that it's just biblically bad. Again, it is that, but it's more than that. It means that in this adaptation, the fundamental core of it, the character of She-Hulk, is nothing like the original comic book character. Her origin, her personality, none of it. The powers are, that's not what, so superpowers are not the fucking most important part of a superhero. Yes, they do matter, but they're not the most important part of it. And they're definitely not going to be the thing that make you cheer for them. You get up there because you want to see them fight adversity, and you're like, yeah, they inspire you. That's what has made Superman such a beloved character for so many generations. And there's none of that in there, because those things were changed out of malice to be a misandrous and, again, misogynistic, ideology-filled heap of mess. This is an insult both to men and to women. Okay, this show is a 0 for me. It is the same reason why Halo is a 0 out of 10 for me, because while there are some cool action scenes in that show in Halo, the characters in that adaptation are nothing like the originals. That was not the Master Chief, and that wasn't Cortana, and what could have been in that show does not constitute what it actually was, what they actually presented us. It's the upcoming Rings of Power is clearly going to be a 0 out of 10. A spoiler alert, it's going to be that bad, because they are intentionally destroying Tolkien's work to fill it with their ideology. And that goes the same with She-Hulk. And I have seen people say that this show is good. It's great. It's perfect. They're giving it a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10. Now, let me explain something to me. When you give something a 7 or higher, so the way I see it is a 5 is like average, right? 5 is an average. It's okay, man. An 8, rather a 6 is above average. Oh, that was an above average film. Like that might be like a movie that you watch and you're like, if it's on TV and I've got nothing better to do, maybe I'll put it on. You know, a 7 is this show was good. I would actively go look to watch this show or this movie. You know, when I'm talking about media, you know, like I would actively go look to watch this. An 8 is like, yo, this is like this is a great movie. This is a great movie. And you go out there and you start recommending this movie to other people. A 9 is like, it's excellent. That's what I see it. You know, like your 9 is like, this is probably one of the greats of so-and-so genre of maybe this time or something, or this generation. You see where I'm going with this? So when I see someone giving something a 7, that means you're saying that this show is fantastic. And just like I try to list out, well, not fantastic, but you're thinking this show is good. And just the way that I try to list out why I think this show is utter garbage, and I expect that people disagree and criticize my opinion, they should expect the same. You should expect that, especially on a show that, I'm sorry, but when you look objectively, not even subjectively, when you look at the flaws that this show has, how they have not stuck to the character, they've changed it entirely, they've bastardized the Hulk. It's not funny. Well, I guess you could take the humor. To me, it's not funny. That could be subjective, right? You could take that and say that's subjective, because, you know, humor may hit people differently. But the CGI is meh. It's sometimes I think it's okay. Sometimes it's kind of very uncanny valley. You got a storyline that is not being told well, that it's just, the dialogue is bad. It's bad. It's not a good legal procedural show at all. It's just, the character is not She-Hulk. It doesn't resemble the comic book character. These are objective things. You cannot fucking argue them. Okay? And you know, so when you get people who are like sitting there, I'm sorry, but we're marking reasons why, and your reasons are just, oh, this show's not for you. That's not a defense. That's not a defense. Actually, it is for me. If anything, it is for me. It is for the comic book readers. Okay, yes, it is for me. Because if it wasn't for me and other comic book fans, you wouldn't be getting the MCU. So you know, have a little humility towards your Elden Lord out there, you consumers, because it is for us. We're the fans. We're the fans. You're just consumers who may switch your Twitter icon to have like Miles Morales or something, or whatever the hell is popular for the month. And that marks it as if, and look, I'm going to say this. I know there are people who aren't enjoying this, right? There are people who are enjoying this, and they aren't the consumers. They aren't the consumers. And they understand, but the difference with them is they understand it's not perfect. They understand that it's flawed. And that marks them as different because they know the product isn't good, but they can still derive enjoyment from it. And that's fine. That's fine. The same way I say it all the time, the same way I do with True Blood. The same way I do with True Blood. That show was pretty bad, but I still like it. Do I think it's perfect? No. Do I think it was good? No. There were 2.5 great seasons. Two and a half. I'll hold it like the 2.5 great seasons. You know, season 1 I think was good. The first half of season 2 was good, and season 3 was fantastic. Season 3 was incredible with Edgington, but the rest of that show was horrendous. This show to me is neither well crafted nor enjoyable, and I will always try to give out my reasons for that. And at least like the True Blood shows tried to get the characters close to the books. This is not even that. So and episode 2 doesn't get any better in the parts that matter. We see the backlash of Jennifer Walters transforming into the She-Hulk in the courtroom. And you know how that obviously, expectedly adds complications to her life, that now her secret is public. But this episode 2 doesn't redeem that character. It doesn't redeem episode 1 by any stretch. It doesn't show any promise for the future. It was even more boring than the first episode because now there's no action. And what courtroom stuff they have, well, not courtroom, but what legal stuff they have just makes no sense. It's just even more boring. It's terrible at being a legal show. It's terrible at being a superhero show. So what the hell is this show? Oh, it's just ideology wrapped up in a comic book show or an attempt at that. It's there were two scenes. I will say this because I do like to give credit where credit is due. And there were two scenes that I did enjoy. One, which actually surprised me that the MCU would do this. Well, I guess it was a little ham-handed, but I think I not ham-handed. Like a little backhanded version of it. And I will discuss them right now because I don't want to give this episode much more time than it truly deserves. I'm not going to give it longer than the fucking episode actually is. So, but I'm going to discuss them right now. If they aren't crucial to the plot or the sort, but I will warn you if you haven't watched the episode yet, very minor spoilers. The first scene that I'm, giving some praise to, and the one that actually surprised me the most was, so Jennifer goes to meet her family. She goes to have a family dinner. We finally meet cousin Ched, and her mom is being critical. The dinner scene was fucking cringy as fuck. It's oh god, it's one of those. And Ched is clearly a meme. It's supposed to be a joke on the Chad meme, but it's so damn on the nose. There's just no humor. It's like what the Joker said. When you have to explain the joke, it's not funny, and that's the thing with this show. It's like, haha, did you see what we did? Did you see what did? And it's just not humorous. But anyway, her dad asked her to help him with something, and they go into the garage and they have a nice little heartfelt moment where, so the dad is portrayed as like this buffoon, but she confides in him and he's shown as a loving father. He's so far in the show, in that family dynamic, he was the only one who really cared. He's asking her how she's doing. She's unloading on him a little bit, and he's telling her, at least you didn't destroy a city. He's trying to cheer up. And it was nice to see a father-daughter moment like that, and to see a father portrayed in a fucking positive light in the MCU, especially in Disney. So that was, I was surprised, and I liked that little scene. It was nice to see that. And the second scene is another thing that I wish we would have more of these type of scenes. I said it before. I said it with the first episode when Jen and Bruce are drinking together. And I'm like, what? I wish we could have more scenes like this, because the second scene in this episode that I really liked was the post-credit scene where it was really cute. It showed Jen that same night doing like a lot of household chores. Like she's helping them change the tire. Like she's holding the back of the car up, and her dad and Ched are changing the tire. She's putting like a television up, like a big flat screen TV up, and she's telling her dad, don't touch the wires again. And then she's carrying like a bunch of, the water cooler tanks into the house. And the dad's like, oh, let me get the door for you. And she's got like 7 of them. And she's like, I'm glad that you're being hydrated. It was really cute. It was really charming. And those are the type of scenes that this show needed to do, that they needed to highlight far more of. They needed to touch on Jennifer Walters being an actual likable character, because she's not right now. She's not. And if your plan is to redeem her by the end of this, which they're not, because they're never going to have it, to have the concept of her have to get redemption by the end of this show, it would mean that she would have to be wrong at the beginning of it. Like her message, her ideology, her personality, that would have to be wrong for her to have to change to find redemption at the end of the show. And they're never going to do that because she's not wrong in their eyes. That's what people don't understand. It's not going to change. She's not going to transform. But if you had shown this other part of Jennifer, the one that you're burying, the one that has an amiable relationship with her cousin, an amiable relationship with her father, with her, maybe she doesn't get along with Ched, but that's okay, because sometimes cousins don't get along. I don't get along with all my cousins. Who does? And you could have had stuff like that and actually make the audience be like, yo, we like She-Hulk. We could cheer for her. We can be like, yeah, let's go. We want to see you put the douchebag Dennis in his place. You know what I mean? But they don't do that. So what the hell is the point of continuing to watch this show? Because it's, again, not an attorney show, and it's not a superhero show. It's not doing either of those well. And to finish this review, let me tell you all another amazing female attorney lead that I have just recently started watching. Because last week I was talking about Kim Wexler, how Kim Wexler is the breakout star of Better Call Saul, strong female attorney, my favorite character of that show. And my favorite character from Breaking Bad is Mike, right? So Mike is in Better Call Saul, and I still love Kim far more than Mike. And not to say I don't like Mike, but she's just that fucking awesome. And a new show that I've started watching is on Netflix called Extraordinary Attorney Woo. It is another Korean show because Netflix has the lockdown on Korean drama, and good for them because Korean drama blows American television out the water. That's for damn sure. Look at Squid Games, which is another thing of when people are like, I can't identify with a character if I don't see myself in them. Did you see yourself in Squid Game? No? You still probably enjoyed it? Yeah? Then shut the hell up. But Extraordinary Attorney Woo is a female attorney. She is heavily on the autistic spectrum. And she's like the first autistic attorney in Korea. And it's just her, like, just what a well-acted show. What a well-acted show that will tear you up. In the first episode, I was like this. Dude, I got my tissue here. No, not tissue, but it was a paper towel. And I was fucking crying. I was like, yo, this show is awesome. And Woo is amazing. Woo Young Woo, that's her name, Woo Young Woo. And it's just watching her journey as an attorney. It's like, and it's really well done. Another really good legal procedural show. So I can recommend that to you infinitely more. You want a good legal procedural show with a strong female character? Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Better Call Saul. There's a million examples of them out there. And this show is not one of them. So fuck She-Hulk. Anyway, this has been the NYC Geek. Again, I apologize that it came out so late. It was a struggle. It was a struggle to watch it. The next week I will be reviewing House of the Dragon. That video will be coming out tomorrow. I'll try to put out something on Tuesday because Wednesday, my wife and I were going to Dragon Con. So stay tuned for the Dragon Con coverage. That's going to be fun. I got to edit a lot of stuff. If you haven't had a chance, some of the older videos in the channel, we go to conventions. We try to get interviews with some of the cosplayers, do some videos. So that'll be fun. If you guys have never had a chance to go to a convention, I hope you guys enjoy watching it through our eyes. And I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Again, this episode sucked, but what are you going to do? Make sure to, if you did enjoy it though, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like, that share button. It truly does help the channel, especially with, people getting shadow banned. I mean, I'm nobody, but it helps out in the algorithm. And there are people who are far bigger than me that are getting their reviews hidden and concealed. So that fucking blows because, YouTube. But please, if you do enjoy it, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share button. Also, hit that freaking bell. That bell helps. It helps you know when another video goes live. Leave a comment down below. I love to engage and chat with all of you. I do try my absolute best to respond to every single comment. Did you watch episode 2? What did you think? If you did watch episode 2, what did you think of the 2 scenes that I enjoyed? Let me know about that. And also, if you're watching Extraordinary Attorney Woo, let me know about that too, because that show's been great. I would love to touch more on that show and maybe put a review about that if I get a chance. I haven't finished watching it yet. It's like 16 episodes, but it was big in Korea, and it just came out like in June. So it was a big deal, that show. I really do recommend watching it. It's been a blast so far. I love to engage and chat with all of you. I really do. I try my best. I really do to respond to every single comment. Haven't already, please make sure to follow me over on twitch.tv, where I stream regularly on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesday, Thursdays. Not Wednesday, Thursdays this week because I'll be at Dragon Con. And please follow me on that filthy cesspool that is Twitter. Fucking bad right now. And as always, please remember your time is absolutely precious. I thank you for sharing it with me. I truly do. This episode will probably be longer or as long as the fucking She-Hulk episode. And please take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys next time.